What's up guys, it's Drac, and this is the Tricera-Blast, and I'm honestly, like, legitimately, the Dino Blasters just make me happy. They're, you know, pretty okay in terms of their price point to value ratio. The molding of the dinosaurs onto them betrays an amount of like actual thought and intuitive design. There are a few cost-saving measures like these mold releases in the Triceratops horn, and then just kind of how open some of the framework for it is, the use of clips instead of screws, but Tricera-Blast is a pretty great name. Again, I'm a little upset that this looks like a half dart because of how they've chosen to mismarket this, but other than that, the rest of the box looks great. The art of this Triceratops is super duper cool. It matches kind of the design here. We've got dart storage in the back. The NERF logo has been kind of prehistoric tinged over there. And then on the back, we have the DinoSquad logo, which looks pretty great. And then a pop-up of the blaster sort of superimposed onto this backdrop. It also shows off the Stego Smash, which we've already reviewed, and the Rex Rampage, which I'm really looking forward to, but is honestly kind of hard to get your hands on because the Rex Rampage is not only the name of a Jurassic Park Lego set, but it's also the name of like a Minecraft mod and some other stuff, so it's actually pretty hard to get your hands on one of those right now. But we've got the Tricera-Blast. The question becomes, what does 20 United States dollars get you in Dino Blast in action? So a brief aside, the darts actually come in like tissue paper taped together. And while that is undoubtedly a cost-saving measure from like blistering them in or packaging them differently, I just want to point out that it's also more eco-friendly. And I do really, really appreciate Hasbro taking that route, especially since given the quality of Elite darts, these are already basically waste products. So it's nice that they're not encasing them in even more. There are a few screw ports on the other side of the blaster. We'll talk more about that as we get into a mod guide. One thing that I think is really cool is that it does come with 12 darts, which while it's not enough darts to necessarily load the blaster in its entirety, it's only enough to do the 6 dart storage on the stock. It is enough to load the actual main blaster function of the Tricera-Blast more than a few times, and that's really cool. Usually they give you just enough darts to load the blaster, and they don't give you nearly enough darts to load the overall setup. And while that is the case here, they should have really given you 15 darts, and then there would be no complaints. It is nice that it comes with enough. There's no release here, just kind of a notch and then a spring-loaded detent down here so that to get the Triceratops to close its mouth, you just open and close. There's technically a release here where this horn comes out, but you don't, it's so weak, I guess, that you can just push straight down. There's no real force required, but it's kind of snappy. You can actually, that's pretty funny. Use it like a puppet. Waka, 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 waka. Anyway, blaster opens up like that so that you can ease of load, then you close it, and then it's a hammer-fired Smart AR blaster, which is to say that the top one's going to shoot the hardest, and then without reloading, you should be able to walk it down, fire your second dart, and then your third dart. You can actually visibly see, even shooting at a short distance, that that third dart is moving slower. Interestingly enough, the blaster feels to be of pretty good construction. There are parts of it that, like I said, are clear cost-cutting measures. Like it would have been nice for this to not have been open mold plastic, but to instead have been kind of shell quality. Wait, what I just... These have to be really be seated properly into the Smart AR, or the Tricera-Blast will not close. One thing that I just want to note, and admittedly you can use other videos of mine to reference blasters that you might already have, or you could just take me at my word. An Elite Alpha Trooper is a pretty well-designed ergonomic blaster. This is the same size, but designed with no pump action. It just seems really small in some places, like you could grip it like this, but the stock is too short, and then the travel here to get your thumb up to prime it one-handed is actually really long. Like you're gonna wanna use both hands to prime this unless you have full-on over 6 feet tall adult man hands. Other than that, it's a good-looking blaster, whereas the Stego Blast was kind of the whole body of the Stegosaurus. This is more of just the head of the Triceratops, kind of giving you that feel. Looks great on this side. You've got paint on this side, and then of course no paint on this side because Hasbro doesn't do that anymore. It's 2021. We don't expect a ton from the mothership, but the use of different colored plastics and different mold pieces kind of snapped and fitted together here actually lend itself to a really nice design. This would be a fun one to paint up, kind of like, I don't normally advocate quote unquote real steel paint jobs, but I think that painting this one to look like a real Triceratops would be so outrageously funny. That would be pretty pretty cool. As far as the dart storage goes, it's actually tight to the blaster. It's not a huge issue even as you kind of run it across your body like that. I think that this is good dart storage. I just wish that it was a little further back so it wasn't impacting your wrist quite as much as you were playing with it. Overall performance is fun, and it's a dinosaur themed blaster. This is clearly designed for younger enthusiasts of foam flinging and to kind of get them off the ground. They're not going to be, you know, crazy excited or crazy disappointed by the performance. They just want a dinosaur blaster. And it does fill that role very securely. I do just want to say that while the Stegosaurus spines were kind of a rubberized plastic to make them safe, this is a hard plastic, and so you don't want to be charging your younger sibling with the Tricera-Blast at all. But we should take it out into our backyard here, get it in front of our Jurassic Park cameras and see what it does over the chronograph, because while its target audience might not be interested in how well it performs, we want to make sure that it's at least up to par, because hammer primed smart AR systems don't normally like deliver those big crony numbers. Let's go. All right, so we came out here to a land before time in order to determine just how much pop the Tricera-Blast has. Loading is not like the most tactically efficient, but honestly, playing with the Triceratops jaw and getting to snap it back to reality is a lot of fun. This is definitely in the goofy kind of max force flavor of blasters, where like you don't buy this to take it onto a foam battlefield. You buy this because you really want a Triceratops Nerf blaster, and that is definitely something that I'm glad exists. Let's put a few over. That top one's getting 72, which is elite performance. Middle is 62. And then 48. So when I say that the drop-off is severe, it's not normally that bad, but it's clear that in this case, there is a serious discrepancy, which means that you're gonna wanna be firing from your top barrel as often as you possibly can to maximize your performance. And that's because while the Smart AR is a very efficient system to prevent you from reloading that often, it is not a very efficient system in terms of like actively delivering air to darts in a tube. We'll do that one more time just for consistency's sake. 71, so far so good. 65, still pretty much there. And 36. You guys might want to tighten up those tolerances, boys. We'll fire a few downrange just to kind of get a feel for it, but again, like a great basement plinker, a fun backyard blaster. Competitive it is not, but Triceratops flavor, it most certainly is. The stock, again, very, stock is actually very flimsy. I'm not gonna shoulder this because when I went to grab it, it just torqued kinda on me. And that's partially because it's barely attached and it's clearly a separate hollow injection molded piece that just fits into here probably with a couple of pins. Not the sturdiest, but, and of course, being an elite dart, we curved straight into the ground. That's a 30-foot shot. That one's like 35. And then this last one, 20 feet. Oh boy. We'll angle these last ones, see if we can't get anything slightly more enthusiastic for you guys. That's the best part. The best part is that you can make the Triceratops talk. All right, so angled shots, closer to 50, in the woods, and you're getting about 35 that way. As far as spinability goes, it is quite good because the trigger on this one was designed in such a way that it meets the trigger guard nicely. The overall aesthetic for it is compelling, and it is $20, which is, while certainly you could get a far more competitive, far better designed blaster from somewhere like, you know, Dart Zone or Zuru at that price point, or even pick up a Zingbo and shoot arrows really, really far. None of those are gonna give you the dino smash in action that you're looking for out of the Tricera-Blast. I still think that the Stego Smash is better, and I'm really looking forward to getting my hands on the Rex Rampage because it is MLM, most likely to mod. So I'll see you guys next time. That's our review of this blaster. It gets a thumb sideways You buy this one if you're a big fan of dinosaurs, and you don't buy it if you're a big fan of blasters. But if you're somewhere in the middle, I think that this one's sweet, and I'm glad that it's in my collection. Much love, Blast on, Drac out.